As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner YouGov offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more.
And the headline here, guys, is, I'm sure all of you saw this story. This was, not something that flew under the radar. And the headline here is a wacky $3.6 billion end to gaming acquisition January. Sony buys Bungie. House that built Halo will now build content for Sony, yet pledges to remain cross-platform. So after we talked at length the last 2 weeks about the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard, now Sony has announced they're acquiring Bungie, which basically is the Destiny series of games, Destiny and Destiny 2. And they're going to pay $3.6 billion. That's the report. That Sony hasn't confirmed that figure, just to be clear. But it sounds like all of this is quite accurate. So $3.6 billion. And they have said, or at least the rumors, is that Destiny will remain cross-platform. So I'm curious what you guys think of this. This has been a month of acquisitions. This has been, I can't believe we're talking about $3.6 billion as like a small one, right? Like this is a minor acquisition.
What a year this month has been. I mean, it's
true.
I did see that where it was like there was more gaming, and it might have even been before the Bungie announcement. There was more gaming M&A dollars in January than all of 2021. And 2021 was the biggest gaming M&A year in the history of gaming M&A years. So
yeah, I saw the same.
Accelerate. I mean, that's just mind blowing. Part of it, I like to think that Sony, saw the Microsoft Activision news and kind of was like, hey, you know what would be great? Like, let's pick up Bungie because it's like the jilted lover, because Bungie, spurned Microsoft and obviously was the original creator of Halo. So it's almost like, they're like sleeping with their ex-wife, Microsoft's ex-wife or something, to use a crass example. But I'm guessing that's not what happened. These deals obviously do not come together in the span of days. So this had obviously been in the works for some time. But I think it would be funnier if that was the case. That's my first thought. I do have a bunch of other thoughts, but I can let Lindsay jump in first.
Oh, I was just going to say I read an article where it said it had been in the making for 6 months. So you were right. Someone put an exact. Someone put an exact number on it.
I was going to say it. I mean, I'm not saying these things can happen overnight, but sometimes, given that this wasn't like confirmed, really, a lot of it's still reports and rumors. Like it could have been a direct response, right? That's not necessarily. And Lindsay, I trust that article was accurate or whatever. I'm not questioning it. It's more just, this could have happened as a response. The timing is possible, right? Announcing the deal and not having dotted all the I's and all the T's, cross all the T's, dotted all the I's, given that nothing was officially announced here even, right? This was all like rumors and reports, seems plausible.
So what do we make of the valuation? I mean, to me, the first thing that jumped out to me was just $3.6 billion for Bungie is it seems just like a lot. Yeah. I mean, to use Williams' old analogy, like that's one Star Wars. Destiny is not Star Wars. Obviously, you can't, that's not a perfect analogy, but Destiny is not Star Wars. The other thing I thought was, so Activision, even though they never owned Bungie, they had the publishing rights for it. And in 2018, I'll never forget this. It was actually the night I launched coverage on Activision as the sell-side analyst. They got rid of Bungie. I think the stock was down 10% the next day. And I remember getting a call from the IR person and being like, "So yeah, this is awkward." But they basically gave away, the rights to publish Destiny for nothing. Essentially, it was like they got some cash figure, but it wasn't even enough that they actually had to disclose it. So it was probably a few $100 million, if that. The fact that that team and that IP is now worth $3.6 billion. I'm someone who always gives Bobby Kotick a lot of credit in terms of his business acumen and kind of the things he's done, the capital allocations. That has to sort of be a little bit of a black mark. The fact that he effectively gave away this IP for nothing, even though he didn't technically own it, he just had the rights to publish it. The fact that it's now worth $3.6 billion is pretty astonishing. To me, I don't see a world where Bungie is worth that. I get the narrative, you just need scale, you need developers, it's a good team, it's a pretty good IP. Also, Sony is looking to get more into live services, sort of build up subscription, kind of that whole narrative. I understand it. But, Destiny is doing, I don't know, what, a couple $100 million in revenue, probably between maybe 300 million in revenue. That's not worth 3.6 billion to me. I don't think.
Adam says, oh boy, the spam bots have joined the chat. Adam, it's a sign of our growth. We are big enough now to attract their attention. Michael says, seems like a panic move by Sony. I doubt such move was in the works before Microsoft's announcement. It's turning into when I move you in the gaming industry. Well, let me just read this, guys. And to Michael's point here, and Jeff, to yours.
It's when I move, you move.
When I move, you move. Oh, sorry. Let me just read this. There was an interesting sort of summary of the, call it the Bungie sort of life cycle. Okay. And so Bungie makes Halo. Okay. Microsoft buys Bungie to get Halo and make Xbox. Bungie makes Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo ODST, and finally Halo Reach. Bungie's sick of Halo. Bungie asks Microsoft if it can go away. Microsoft says, LOL, sure, but we keep Halo. Microsoft starts 343 Industries to keep making Halo. A handful of Bungie staff stays behind. The rest go start making Destiny. Bungie needs more money, signs exclusive publisher deal with Activision. Bungie eventually gets sick of Activision, buys self out of publishing deal. Bungie once again needs more money, sells self to Sony. So I thought this was kind of a clever, here's the whole story in a nutshell. And in Bobby's defense, Jeff, to the comment you made, they got sick of Activision according to this. So whether, he didn't see the value or they got scared away essentially of Activision, we could fault Bobby or we could not. You're right that he missed out on something now someone valued at 3.6 billion. My feeling on this, guys, is, and I think I put this on my LinkedIn, I had put it out as sort of a thought or a comment, was this is definitely Sony's response to Activision Blizzard, and it's the equivalent of Cold War MAD, or Cold War mutually assured destruction, right? Where Sony knows that Microsoft now has a stable of games that they could take exclusive and hurt Sony. So Sony needs to build a stable of games that they could take exclusive to hurt Microsoft. Chances are none of them will make any of these games exclusive because they know as soon as the other one makes one exclusive, they'll get a response, right? And so everyone wants to avoid mutually assured destruction, but everyone has the exclusives, kind of like nukes, sitting in silos, with no intention of ever firing them, but it's a deterrent to a universe of exclusives. Do either of you buy that theory? Or because I've got some pushback on that. I've had a lot of people agree with me. Jeff, I know we've talked about it in our Discord, which everyone, by the way, should go join. Discord.gg. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Discord.gg/MetaTV. If you want to sort of continue the fun we have on the live stream every week and discuss things in our Discord. But your pushback on me, and sorry, I'm gonna put words in your mouth, was, well, this is like, bringing a knife to a gunfight, basically.
Yeah,
does it matter?
I don't
how
think you're
big
wrong.
the knife
I think
is?
your theory is right, but it's just a bad response because there really is no other Call of Duty. But I do think you are correct in your theory of this mad thing.
Well, Greg says,
But I'd
seems like
rather
it's my
Call of
weekly
Duty as my
question.
new-
But is EA next?
Yes.
Does Sony buy EA?
They
I hope
might.
not.
Why?
So
Why?
I don't know.
Lindsay.
I like having it. I like when there's more independent game companies. Like, I don't want to live in a world where there's like 3 companies and they own everything. It'll just be less interesting for us to talk about, invest in. Like that doesn't behoove any of us. I don't think. The other thing with EA is just hard with some of their, like, the sports games. I think you could get some pushback from the leagues if you tried to make them exclusive to like one platform. So I could see that being a problem just in the contracts in general. So that might be the one reason why maybe EA doesn't get swallowed up, at least by a Microsoft or a Sony. Maybe they get bought by someone else. But I think they're more likely to be one of the few remaining consolidators on the publisher side than get bought by someone. Total guess, kind of, but I don't know. What do you
Lindsay,
guys think?
sorry, you had thoughts on this, on the EA
Yeah,
thing.
so I wanted to go back to your mutually assured destruction thing for a moment. I went and looked up. It was an Axios newsletter where I saw that this was 5 to 6 months in the making. And I went and looked at the quote of it, and it's a tweet from the head of gamesindustrybiz.com who said that he spoke with Jim Ryan. So take with that what you will. I think it's pretty easy for Jim Ryan to come out and say, no, this wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. It took us 5 to 6 months. I think it's just as easy.
What are they going to say? Right? Like, what are they
for that to be true as it is for it to be not true.
Yeah.
So it may or may not be a knee-jerk reaction, but he, in his succeeding tweet, did say that Jim Ryan also said to expect more mergers and acquisitions from Sony. So with that in mind, and again, this is the word of a journalist, of course. He's the head of Games Industry Biz, so there's some weight there, and I'm assuming he may have been able to actually speak directly with him. With that in mind, I obviously think there's a chance that they buy EA for sure. There's also, but I also think when it comes to EA, it's just sort of we're just in a waiting game now, seeing who actually gets to it. And all of these buyouts, they're probably sitting pretty and upping their valuation every day another merger goes through for a ludicrous amount. So they're in a good spot right now, actually, I think.